What's up, everybody? Drew here. Hopefully my mic keeps giving us levels this whole time. Looks like it is. I'll keep an eye on that. Alright, so I'm going to pick back up on this dubstep track. We left it last time. We were building out this break section and the build up. We did some sound effect design, and today I think we're going to continue on the break build into the drop, which is probably what a lot of people are waiting for. Not that many people are watching these videos, but these are here to help people, and if it only helps a couple, then that still makes me super stoked. So here we go. Let's hear what we have so far. Alright, cool. I like what we have so far. I have an idea. It's not what I even mentioned at the beginning of the video, but this is the same exact chord progression that we have going in this verse section, or whatever you want to call this first drum section. And when it changes, even though the melody is the same, I think we could harmonize the melody a little bit differently. Perhaps like in the chords, we could put some notes that highlight what's going on in the melody and give us some cool development in the track. So let's find an instrument we're using to write our big chords. Cool. So let's take that channel and our melody. I'll loop that section. Try to use my imagination here. Cool. So I think the chords, we could even double up that these melody notes in our chords. That could be cool. Another option is this section. It'd be cool if the chords change twice for that note, where we only have one. So we can take a mental picture. We got E flat, D, C, E flat, D, C, and then D and B flat. So I come back here. So like we could do that same melody there. Get where I'm going with that? Low end of that too. Not all of them, but if we first and last. Cool. Lower the velocity slightly on that note. Alright, this was D, B flat. Are those the melody notes? Yeah. Alright. So what do we have? We've got our F major chord. So we could potentially just do something like this. So I think that would work. Again, it's music, so really whatever sounds good to you will work, and always use your imagination. Don't be afraid to put some notes you think that may be wrong, because sometimes the wrong notes are what makes the music have some character. So what I did here was these are the same notes. These top 3 MIDI notes are the same as going on in our melody. I guess down an octave. And then the next notes, I started on the D. We're going to a B flat. I first did that. It works. It's pretty cool. It sounds like this. So, but it's directly following the lead, and that's perhaps not as exciting. So I moved it to the note F. F is a perfect 5th above B flat. The way you know that is it's part of your B flat chords, your B flat minors and majors, hence the perfect element. It's the same interval in a minor and major key, which makes it special. And so I'm going up to that note. Next, a little sore. And that just adds some cool movement. So it's like voicing the 5th between the melody and this chord progression. And then finally I did a similar idea, but this is a 4th. It's basically a parallel 4th running down in the melody, which gives it kind of like a almost more of a video game sound, because a lot of the early like Nintendo music had a lot of counterpoint, which is what you would call this idea of like 2 contradicting melodies that the notes of which together make chords, harmonies. Cool. So let's take the same notes that happen on the second chord. Then for this, cool. So I think the second time, instead of going to a D, we could stay on the note from the F chord we were using, C, and then we could go down to the B flat. That's the same note the melody hits. But then when we come up here, the melody's going E flat, D, C. What if we go E flat, F, like we do the opposite. So C happens to be a perfect 5th, or G happens, this note, G, happens to be a perfect 5th away from C. So that would be cool, and I sort of heard that idea in my head, and just to relate this to music theory, I'm sort of singing in my head, but I know that the notes that I hear by context of the scale I'm writing in, that helps me to figure out what note it actually is that I'm hearing in my head, if that makes sense. It's sort of a relative pitch approach. For those of you that have perfect pitch, you maybe don't need to do that. You could just imagine notes, but I hear that's pretty difficult hearing trait to have. In other words, those with perfect pitch a lot of times struggle with hearing live music because it frustrates them, since it's not usually very perfect. So let's hear this. I like that. I'm curious if we do half note quarter notes, that would be better. That's cool. Gives it kind of an interplay rhythmically. Nice. So let's hear what that sounds like if we put that chord progression where the other chords were playing, like on the pads. Let's hear this. reminds me, I was thinking the melody in the beginning, it'd be cool if we started it out in the lower octave. Maybe it was the fresh ears, but that sounded just somewhat abrasive to me. All right, cool. Let's build a drop, shall we? Let's work on the build up first of all. So I think last time I did an uplifter sound in Serum. So I'm gonna do, I also did a tutorial video where I showed you how to build that sound. Oh, my Logic, any of you Logic Pro users, I don't know if you get that same error that you just saw me get, but sometimes when I'm like copying MIDI or audio clips, it like lags out, and if I don't let it catch up, it's going to, what's it gonna do? It's going to put the audio or MIDI clip on some random channel. It's really strange. I feel like it was after I updated my OS. Usually restarting the computer or the Logic session will help with that. Still getting audio? Yep, cool. It's so strange that my mic cut out the last couple videos. It's not usually doing that. All right, so let's come back in here. Let's just build, let's build a new channel. Now, let's see here. All right, so let's look at our Serum Lead. Now, instead of doing the uplifter channel that I just created, I'm actually gonna duplicate our Serum Lead sound. I'm gonna put the MIDI there, which is, again, for these uplifters, I'm just using like the root note, G in this case, holding the whole time. And the reason I took that lead sound is that a lot of times, like since we're already using a certain wave set of wave tables and processing and sound design, if you will, if we kind of like use those as references or we build based off those wave tables with certain sound effects, I find we get some cool sort of development where our ear understands that it's not a random, completely new sound. So let's see, let's make sure I'm on the right channel. All right, cool. So first of all, let's hear, it's not gonna sound correct. All right, cool. So I'm gonna start by getting rid of our LFO stuff. I'm gonna then make this uplifter LFO. You can really shape this however you want. We could do a simple curve, this, or like I said last video, the Kill the Noise videos I've been watching, he advocates, just like we did in the cymbals, adding a little bit of like imperfection, because it'll give it some cool, it's like a speeding up sort of sound. All right, then I'm gonna put that on the volume of our wavetables. I'm gonna change it from envelope mode to trigger. It's one MIDI clip, so that won't matter. I'm gonna put it to 8 bars. So this is gonna happen over the course of 8 bars. Let's add some noise on there. Let's make the noise start low and pitch up. Let's turn on key tracking. Let's see, look at our effects. Could have it get bigger over time. Probably gonna want to mellow out the compression. Filtering, it's off. All right, cool. Let's just hear this. Might sound a little really crazy. Crazy. Pretty cool. All right, what else should we do? Getting texts. Let's make some reverb get bigger. Let's hear it in context. Cool, I think it's gonna work well. Let's go into the MIDI and add some pitch bend. Now you can actually use your LFOs inside of Serum to do this exact same sort of sound. I will do that sometimes. I feel like Serum, doing it this way, I have like more direct control over how it bends. But that also means that I'm the architect of it entirely. So a lot of times you get cool stuff that, you know, by accident when you're using LFOs to do the up pitch. The way you do that, if you're curious, it's a couple ways you can do it with the pitch. I guess the coarse pitch of your different oscillators. You can also go into the matrix and tie an LFO to what's called under global master tune. That will allow you to create some really crazy, like bigger than you can imagine, just pitch bends through pretty much all the sonic frequencies that we can even hear. All right, so now it's gonna start bending up. We may not want it to bend so quickly. Cool. So now that we have it actually bending up, these parameters down in the lower left-hand corner of, let's see, sorry, my phone's distracting me. On the lower left-hand corner, these are parameters that this knob, your pitch wheel, if you're using a MIDI controller, or on right mode and bending that around, controls. That's also the MIDI line that I wrote. So this is called pitch bend, and the MIDI that you saw, where it goes from basically 0 to 100 or whatever, 62, whatever number they call that, 63. So it's going from basically 0 to maximum. So from 0 to 2 to semitones. I could put this to an octave and it's going to move a lot more. Cool, I think that sounds pretty cool. What you guys think about that? Lower the mix, much lower. Maybe we could even do some low pass filtering on it. Cool. We can come back to that. Let's call this uplifter long. All right, save. Cool. All right, so let's grab some drum sounds. What should we use for our drop drum sounds? We could build them. Let's, in the interest of just building a track, I'm just gonna grab some random kicks and snare I am gonna listen to. It's pretty crazy. I'm in the dubstep kit, so it should be crazy. All right, dubstep drum drops, boom, cha, boom, cha. A lot of this is just going to be the most basic thing ever. Halftime, kick, snare, kick, snare. Now I like adding the sort of hip hop syncopation. We could just do that the second time. What if we did another cool little kick slam? Not so fast. Nice. You can use the same cymbal sounds, change the pattern. Change our pattern. That'll work for now. All right. Wobble bass building. All right. So I'm going to take, let's see, I'm going to take my chord progression. I'll get rid of everything but the low notes. I'm going to create a new instance of Serum. Cool. All right. Let's go back to scratch. Initial, again, careful, turn down if you don't want to hear it. Initial preset doesn't sound that great. All right. Let's see here. I've got a lot of cool growl wave tables. Let's use animal sounds. Larva. That's cool. Let's hear it down an octave. Cool. All right. This is gonna be rad. Let's put it there. So this LFO is going to move this wet knob. Let's do some FM synthesis. I haven't done a lot of this in my videos, so it's not old. For my videos, you'll hear, you know, FM synthesis was one of the more common synthesizers used in or synthesis techniques or fundamental type ways of synthesization with FM. Originally started with the Yamaha DX7, which was a hardware analog synth, and then the famous version that people like Kill the Noise or Skrillex talk about is FM8 by Native Instruments. So FM synthesis a lot of times is used to create really like harsh sounds with like rich and a lot of harmonics. And the way a lot of times you'll do it is I can basically turn oscillator B off, but then I can have our main oscillator doing FM synthesis, basically changing based on this parameter, which got a lot of, let's put it down. Let's use a different LFO. So we can kind of control that how we want. Cool. I know it sounds absolutely awesome right now. It's not supposed to. All right, so let's basically shape this. So instead of having it so fast, let's put it forward. And if you go down here, you can actually save your own shapes, or you can download shapes. So if I put this on. Give it some movement. Drums, so it starts to sound like what it should. Out so that this crazy stuff we do, we're not hitting our sub as much. All right, compressor. hopefully some of you are like, oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. Maybe you think it sounds absolutely terrible. It's a fluid process. I will probably think it sounds terrible at some point in the project, and I will go back into Serum, and I will start to further manipulate. One thing we didn't do is filtering. You can definitely highlight that like talking sound if you do a low pass filter. I've got to turn it on A, do that kind of thing where it's opening up. Done. I'm not done. We can find a cool harmonic to kind of like bend that sound that our flanger was adding. So increase the I didn't like that in the end. All right, so let's hear this. So one thing I showed in the Flutter bass tutorials is you can take this rate and start changing it. You can get really crazy sounds like. So when you take any sort of time effect, whether that's a delay, a flanger, or during a blank, really anything, and you have it, any plugin that has a sync feature, what that does is it syncs to your BPM. Usually if it's synced, you're going to see things like quarter note, half note, 16th note. These are all specific rhythms I go over in the text linked below. Or you're probably familiar with if you've had any sort of background in music. So those are all tied to the grid within our actual song. If we take it off to BPM mode, BPM, just like the metric that the speed of the song, the tempo of the song is measured in, beats per minute, we can also use in time-based effects. So instead of it being a precise rhythm, it's now an imprecise rhythm. And you can try to make it as close to a quarter note as possible, but you're probably going to be slightly off, and actually being slightly off is pretty cool, just like we talked about with swing and the envelopes and all that stuff. So let's get our kick drum going a little bit longer. Now, probably going to call this video shortly. I'll start doing longer and longer videos as I get more comfortable and whatnot. But what am I gonna do? I'm gonna add some sort of effect other than the main drop sound to give it some cool space. So let's go earlier in the song and make that effect. Let's just get rid of that MIDI and let's do something like that. Let's check it. Nice. Getting there. Something super simple. And then I'm gonna put a delay on that. And then I'm gonna print it so that it doesn't mess with our earlier stuff. Nice. Cool. I'm gonna print this partly for what you just saw. Delays can create squeals and feedbacks. They're also they're great for creating this kind of effect that I just did, but I like taking them and printing them to audio, and then I'll turn that delay off. I can always come back to it if I want to. Then if I zoom in, I just printed that delay. You can see it looks pretty rhythmically in time, synced. I'm going to then take that sound, let's listen to it, we can affect it. Let's put some compression on it, go with our 1176. Great for those rhythmic transients. Cool. Let's put some like super trippy reverb on this. I have the atmosphere. Do I have that running? No, I'm not doing any of my bussing. So Logic Pro users, if you don't know about this, down here, this is a place we can access our bussing feature, and then which we can use for effects chains. So I'm going to send this audio to bus 3. I'm going to then put on my lexicon setting, which is saved to the atmosphere. I think Kevin Klein built sound. Pretty crazy. It's just a wild reverb. Nice. And then finally, we can do some filtering. Got this crazy. All right, so it probably doesn't seem that crazy, but let's hear how, if we mix that in subtly with our drop, it's probably gonna be pretty rad. Hopefully. I just wasted your 10 minutes. Apologies. All right, let's hear this. Probably gonna have to turn it down. again, with these videos, I will eventually finish this track, and hopefully you like it when it's finished, but it's going to continue to evolve. If you have any ideas or questions on sounds that I could perhaps attempt to explain, I don't claim to know everything in audio. I actually think it's impossible, because you know, once you master playing, say, the guitar, then you learn about audio effects, and then you learn about other instruments and recording technologies, and then Spotify comes around, and then, you know, different loudness requirements are issued, and other audio effects come out. So this is like a never-ending thing, but hopefully this helps you to continue to progress. Shoot me an email, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of these, and again, if you have a topic, you can challenge me to try to explain it. Hopefully I get something like, you know, can you show me how to write a Locrian mode drop at the end? That would be pretty dissonant sounding. All right, cool. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I guess we'll finish this out by playing you the track, not bouncing it, just muting that section. Here we go. Cool. I mean, I'm pretty stoked on it. It's not ready for release, but it's some productivity during this Corona lockdown that I've been needing. Like I said a couple videos ago, it's been just a crazy surreal time for me. It's been pretty good. I've transitioned to working all online, doing production and lessons and consulting and stuff, all via Zoom and webcam, which is pretty rad, but starting to feel like Groundhog's Day, kind of like doing the same thing every day. Kind of insane. All right, the one thing, so I said I was going to leave you with playing it, but I heard something I wanted to do, and I meant to do it this video. Probably going to have this change to, I'm going to do a little, like, a drum roll pattern. That I may pitch up. Let's see, let's go to quarter notes, eighth notes, sixteenth notes, and maybe a couple 30 seconds or just like crazy fast stutters. Like a 16th note triplets, I guess that's what they would be. Let's take those. Something like that. Just a drum pattern, filter that, super common sound, have it open up as it gets to the drop. Some of that atmosphere reverb. I hear that reverb still going. You probably do too if you're wearing headphones, so I'm going to turn that down. Cool. So I'll play that one more time. Nice. Definitely a lot of progression since where we opened it today. Cool. So I'll see you guys next time. I think I said goodbye like 3 times already. Apologies. Talk to you later.